Hello everyone, thank you for joining. We are just gonna start in a minute or so.
In the meantime, if you want to grab a cup of tea or coffee, please feel to do so, because we know that it's going to be a long day for you. Really appreciate that you're taking out the time in the middle of your work to join in.
So let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome back to Control Plus T Testathon. Thank you all for joining, and we have a very exciting session coming up next. I would also like to introduce you to 𝐕𝐢𝐝 𝐼. He is a senior product manager at Lambda Test, and he is going to take us to the session on analytics, dashboard, and user admin. Over to you, 𝐕𝐢𝐝.
Thank you, Swash. Hello all. It's a very warm afternoon. So I'll be, discussing about the analytics and testing, how you can utilize analytics and get to try more insights, and also discuss about how dashboarding and visualization will help you get more, quicker and faster, insights about the same, and also about the user admin, where how can you manage different kinds of users who are part of the organization within the platform. So my name is Vishnu Aigar. I am a senior product manager at Lambda Test, majorly handling analytics and visual regression testing products. And the agenda of the session will be first we will be starting about introduction to test analytics, like why do you need a test analytics at all in the first place, and we will be discussing about difference between the framework reports, what usually are generated by the open source, for example, like a Cucumber or a TestNG report, and how Lambda Test Analytics is different than that, and what kind of insights you can gain from both of these as well. And I'll be giving a complete overview of our current platform of Test Analytics. And I'll be explaining about the different features of our Lambda Test Analytics, and also give you the total overview of the user management module, what we currently have at Lambda Test. So to get started with, I want to start with the very, basic problems what we have currently seeing in the market right now. So one of the key challenges in quality assurance is capturing the right amount of logs and error messages during the test execution. These logs are critical for effective debugging and identifying the recurring issues. However, capturing too much information can make it difficult to find the relevant data as well. So while capturing too little might leave the essential part as well without the information which we need. It is little delicate uh, to balance these two elements, like what amount of right logs to be captured, or if I'm capturing too much, then it's going to be overloaded with lot of data on the platform. So it is very important for us to understand what do I need to get as an information, or what kind of logs should I capture, and plan accordingly. Another challenge is visualizing the data. So let's
𝐕𝐢𝐝,
say once you have.
sorry to interrupt you. Can you just open your slide in full screen so it is more visible? Thank you so much. Sorry again.
Yeah. So the second problem what we have found. So we have discussed about capturing the data. So different kinds of log, different kinds of messages are now captured. So what is this next part? So how can I visualize them? So I can't just keep on reading all these logs and spend a lot of time understanding it independently by studying them, right? So visualization is one of the major challenges as well. So how are you observing or monitoring the right trends in our testing process is a key to improving the efficiency and the effectiveness of all the information what we have collected. However, not all testing frameworks provide flexible reporting capabilities that meet the specific requirements of different teams. And the lack of flexibility can make it very difficult to identify the right trends what we need and interpret our testing data. And the third part is that, since now we have, discussed about the problems of capturing the data and visualization. Now we want to share this kind of information, what we have been created with different kinds of stakeholders. And that is a big struggle. So today, what happens is that every time you, run a build or run a test, you get a report, and that report is generated as a HTML file or a PDF file, and you keep on, sharing these reports, and it's very hard to manage so many, files and data points across. So keeping everybody informed is also very important because they need to understand how a particular test has been executed, or what is the current status, so that all the stakeholders, like different developers or different teams who are involved, like it could be a product team or a project team, who are looking forward for the same, needs to understand what is the current status of that particular test as well, which is very tedious as of today. So what is the solution for this? So the solution, so yeah, so this is how our open source framework reports would look like. So as you can see, there is a very part visualization what they have given on different kinds of steps, or let's say that different kinds of steps which have been executed on the test case, and you can also see what is the total pass ratios and fail ratios, and couple of feature related statistics, like how many total number of tests are run for a different features which have been added within my generative scripts, and what is the ratio of their pass, fail, skip, or pending, etc. And how much duration that particular test has been run as well. But as you can see, this is very limited to only just one particular test run. And I can't actually see the whole trends here within the Cucumber reports. Whereas when you come to TestNG, I can see, what was the whole number of, tests which have been run, how many of them passed, failed, etc. But there is a lot of problem with when it comes to, factoring with time. So as you can see, there is a Unix timestamp which has been displayed, where it is very hard to interpret for a a human to understand, okay, like what, when exactly this particular test has been executed, and to configure these options, it is very tedious. You have to manually change a lot of settings to get these reports into the right place. So the solution, what we're offering is with Lambda test analytics and insights. That's a a dashboard which you can plug in any kind of a widget of your choice, and build whole customization around it. How to do so? I'll be discussing in the next step. So analytics. So the first and foremost importance, why do you need actually test analytics, is that you need to make data-driven decisions. Where test analytics allows different kinds of QA teams to be make informed decisions based on data rather than just simply relying on intuition or guesswork. So with test analytics, you can see exactly what is happening in your testing process and use that information to drive decision making, what to prioritize, what to deprioritize, which to pick first, etc. Efficiency and optimization. By providing a very clear view of your testing process, test analytics can help you identify inefficiencies and bottlenecks and areas for improvement. This can lead to faster testing and fewer errors and a more optimized QA processes. Next is about trend identification. So test analytics help you spot different kinds of trends and pattern in your testing. This can particularly useful for identifying recurring issues, understanding the impact of changes, and predicting future outcomes as well. Ultimately, the goal of test analytics is to improve the quality of your software. So quality improvement is a very critical juncture, and that is where test analytics can help you build more quality of your test cases as well. And at the last, which is very sweet spot, is to reduce the cost by identifying issues early and reducing the need for extensive manual testing. test analytics can lead to a different, or let's say, like highly significant cost saving in the long run. So, sorry.
Sorry, there seems to be some network issues at Sri Vishnu's end. I would request you to wait for like 2 minutes. Please give us just 2 minutes. Vishnu is just joining back from another network.
Uh, I'm very sorry, guys. There's some kind of internet issue for my end.
Vishnu, you might want to turn off your camera probably, um, and then you could share your screen.
Yeah. I hope means
Yes, it is visible. Thank you.
so. We were discussing about now we have discussed already about the importance of the test analytics right now. So I will be explaining you how can you actually gain insights and follow how to build these kind of different trends with time series analysis. So why do you need like time series analysis in the first place? So time series analysis is a statistical technique which is you that deals with like time series data or data points ordered to time. In context of QA, this involves analyzing the results of your test over time and identify trends and patterns. So which is very critical as you go with like let's say different kinds of builds or releases. You would like to see like how your test queues has been building up over a period of time. And coming down to the second point, accessing the time series data. In Lambda test, you can access the time series data through analytics dashboard. And here you can see a chronological display of your test results over a specific period of time, which I'll be covering in the demo. And interpreting data. So when viewing your time series data, look for trends, for example, like are errors increasing, decreasing, and patterns such as like if there are certain times where errors are more likely to occur, or if there are some kind of outliers, are they expecting unexpected spikes or drops in errors? So that is something which is very important to like understand by accessing the time series data. And leveraging sorry, acting on the insights. So you have to like use the insights gained from the time series analysis to make data driven decisions. That is what we have discussed in the previous slide as well, which is very important with the test analytics insights. So this could involve and improve adjusting your testing strategy, reprioritizing your testing efforts, or making changes to your code addressing the recurring issues. Remember, time series analysis is a powerful tool but requires careful interpretation. Always consider the context of your data and be aware of the external factors that might be influencing the results as well. So now I'll be, presenting the demo on how within the LAMP test analytics you can be looking for different kinds of time series data. So this is a demo dashboard which I'll be presenting to you. And before we get into the dashboard, I would like to show you, all the different capabilities what the Lambda test would present. So you can go search in any of the search engines about Lambda test capability generator, and you can select the capability generator for Selenium mapping. So once you select that, you will be coming down to a page like this, which is a generated, or let's say, like a pre-built capability generator. You can select a framework or let's say language of your choice. And currently for the demo, I'll be using Node.js. And you can give any kind of a build in here. Let's say if I want to test a login page, I can just say all the test cases which are related to login page would be the build name. And I can give a project. Let's say if I'm testing for Amazon.com, so I can just give a project name as Amazon.com. I can give a test name as well. So let's say login form test, and I can give multiple different kinds of tags as well, login or authentication, etc. So all this kind of information, what's being utilized within the capabilities, as we have discussed in the previous sessions as well. Using this particular metadata information, we have built this particular platform to generate all this kind of different analytics. So what different kinds of widgets we do support? So you can just click on Add Widget, and for this demo, I'll be showing about web automation, but we also do support all the different kinds of products in Lambda test, like app automation as well, and HyperXecute, which is a flagship product with much more like advanced features there. So I'll be just simply adding the widgets. So and update the dashboard. Yeah. So you can see the whole, test results, how they are presenting with the different kinds of time series information. So now let me quickly start with the build health snapshot. So build health snapshot is a widget which could help you give like how many total number of unique build are run. So how is this calculated? So we calculate this by the name which was been given in the build. So according to the capability generator, I have given my build name here as login page. So how many of these kind of unique builds have I run on the platform could be analyzed in this particular summary card. And this will not just give you just the number of builds which have been uniquely run, but it will also categorize by that status, like how many are consistently passing and how many are giving consistently error results as well. So in this card, as you can see, like it is giving me inconsistent result. So I can just click and check why is this giving me inconsistent result. Let's say if I have some kind of a build which says API validation refactor, and I can just click on that, and it will further give you much more deeper drill down. And within this drill down, I can see, like this is the same build name, and the build status has been completely changing. It has been passing for a while, and there is an error in between. It's not consistently, like passing every time I execute. And I can see where exactly, like it has thrown an error and how many number of test counts have been run within this particular build and when it exactly failed as well. So I can see the complete pattern of different statuses on Lambda test and how like they have been failing or passing over a period of time. Next, I'll be discussing about the test status ratio. So as you can see, this is a 100% stacked chart, and I can just hover and start. As you can see, like start very at the very early beginning of my test course when I built. There are a lot of cases which started to fail, and over a period of time, I have identified these issues. And as you can see, I fixed all the past issues, or let's say, like, sorry, I fixed all the failed issues in the past, and now I have my build, or let's say the test which I've been running at 100%, which I've been passing. And you can also, like change the visualization by clicking on edit widget, and I can go to the display option and I can change this to a bar chart. And through this, I can also solve my different kinds of visualization problems which I have. And if I want to see the same, what happened in the last 24 hours, I can just come on the top and I can change. As you can see, the test cases has been passing for a while, and it started to fail slowly. And once it started to fail, there are a lot of changes which happened with my code, and all the current test cases needs to be updated at this point of time. So this is how a test case her snapshot could be helpful. And coming down, we also do support different kinds of error stats. As you can see here in this pattern, there are a lot of outliers which have been generated at one shot. There are a lot of cases which got idle timed out, and after some more time, I have also keep on increasing in the count of idle time. So this is something of a concern. Like whenever the number of tests have been growing and the idle case, let's say the idle timeout cases have been increasing, that is something which I have to prioritize and I have to look for it. And I have to fix this issue so that my test cases will either go on a pass or a fail test rather than getting an idle timeout cases. Next, I'll be discussing about the concurrency trends. So coming on to this particular widget, concurrency trends explains what was the total concurrency or the number of parallel licenses, or let's say the number of parallel tests which could be executed on the platform over a period of time, how it's being utilized, and how many of your tests were queued and how many tests were actually utilized in a time series. So over a period of time, I can see hey, there's a heavy spike here, which is actually exceeding my limit. And this might be a case where, there could be a lot of features release or something which is happening. And I need to plan accordingly so that in the next time, I'll not be exceeding so much because this might lead to a queue error. Or this might be, staying for a very long time in the queue and my test case will not be executed, which will take more time for my release to happen. And as you can see here, there's a big spike. Like there are a lot of tests which have been run unplanned, and I can actually plan better so that I will know when exactly how to utilize my resources effectively and reduce the time and cost as well. So next, coming down to the test trends, this will explain you how many total number of tests have been run over a period of time and how does my previous trend look like. Next, we will be discussing about the TestOS. So TestOS is a distribution chart which will be completely distributed over what all different kinds of operating systems I have run or executed my tests on. As you can see, in over the Windows, I have run about 71,522 tests over the last 3 months, and there are about 173 unique build names and 20 unique tests are been run, and this is my current ratio of the status of this test, like how there are about 77% which have been passed, there are about 20% which have been failed. And if there is any other kind of error or any kind of idle timeout cases, that could be also easily spotted out using this widget. And if I want to further know, okay, within Windows what different subversions I have actually run the tests on, I can just simply click on it, and that will give me the complete distribution, like how many have run exactly on Windows 10, Windows 11, 8, 7, 8.1, etc. So through this, I can also see the different kinds of distribution, like how many tests are passing, failing, or there are any kind of idle timeout cases, etc. as well. Now, similar to TestOS, we also provide the distribution of browsers as well. So as you can see, there are different kinds of browsers which have run in the last 3 months, and there are total number of about 59,368 cases, or let's say 300 test runs which have been executed with about 174 unique build names and 20 unique test names. And this is my status distribution for the same. And if I want to know further, like what versions of Chrome have actually executed this test sum, I can just simply click on it and you can get the complete data for the same. Now, we additionally also have a test summary card. So this particular test summary card is nothing but a complete distribution, or like what are the total number of tests which have been done in the last 3 months, how many tests have actually passed, failed, completed, errored out, or let's say if there is any kind of a lambda error, or let's say issue from lambda side, like how many of the those issues have been spotted, and how many test cases have been idle time out, queue timed out. Queue timed out happens when there is any kind of uh, resource has been not been allocated according to the number of parallel threads subscribed on the platform. And idle time, what happens if there is a kind of an element you're trying to look for, and if that particular element has not been found for a very long time, and the test has kept on like running. In that particular case, test case gets idle time. So if you want to quickly check, okay, what are my test cases which got idle time out, I can just click here to inspect, and that will give you the complete list of the tests which have like idle time out over a period of time. And further, you can also search by different build names. Let's say if I want to check how many of my password reset feature build has been idle time out, I can just click on it, and that gets filtered, and you can quickly see for that specific build, like what kind of tests and which got idle time out on which browser and Windows, or let's say different kinds of OS and resolution as well. So at last, we have something called test case health snapshot. So test case health snapshot, as we have discussed about the unique build names in the build health snapshot. In the similarly, we have the test case health snapshot, which will actually categorize and tell you, like how many test cases have been consistently passing, failing, or errored out, or completing, etc. And if you have any kind of inconsistent results, as you can see, I can just select on that, and I can select, let's say, if I want to check, okay, within my cross-browser compatibility test, there are about 6,625 tests which have been run in the last 3 months, and I want to see where are they consistent. I can just select on view test. A drill down will open, and you can see all the list of the tests which have been like showing inconsistency. So as you can see, this particular test has been failed and it has passed in the previous instances. So this will help me understand, okay, if this is like not consistent and showing not consistent results, maybe on let's say it has passed on Chrome 63 and it has failed on Chrome 86. So I would like to understand, like within this version difference, if there's any changes which have to make so that I can fix this issue. And within my next runs, it will be showing a consistent result. So yeah. So this is majorly at the time series like interpretation, what we do provide at Lambda test. Going down to the next, like feature sets. So I'll be explaining you about how editing widgets and applying filters will work. I'll show about different kinds of dashboard settings which we have. And I'll be also, we have a cool feature where you can get notifications with email reports. And I'll also, like explain to you like how this could be done via Lambda test analytics. And not just that, since, like one of the problems which we have discussed is about sharing the reports. So we have simplified that by providing a very easy URL, which could be copy pasted within your, like internal chat tools, or it can be sent by an email as well. So going down to the demo for the same. So firstly, we will start about like the dashboard exporting to PDF. So let's say I have built this dashboard and now I want this to be like generated as a PDF. What I can do is simply click on this particular button, download as PDF, and that will generate a PDF report for me. Take some time to load the widgets. Yeah, the PDF is now generated. So I can actually see here if I want to use some kind of like highlighters within, let's say, the tools which I use for my PDF generator, I can just highlight those cases and I can actually save that particular file and send it to the relevant stakeholders. Now coming down to the next feature which we have is about the dashboard settings. So let's say I want to, like change the name of the dashboard. I can come here and I can simply, like edit the name and update it so that the dashboard name, whatever of your choice needs to be done, would be actually, like easily, like managed through the dashboard settings. And then we has discussed, like there's an ability where we can actually share the, like a PDF report over an email. So what I can do for that is I can just come here in the integration settings within the email notifications. I can just set up the integration and I can select the frequency, how the email needs to go. Should I go daily or should it go weekly or monthly or any kind of custom? So when it comes to custom, like you can start from minimum 1 day and you can set to up to maximum 90 days. So let's say if I select weekly, that means that every week a PDF report will be sent to all the email IDs which I'm adding in this particular list. Let's say if I'm just adding my email ID and if I'm adding one of my colleagues' email ID and I can just enable the status to trigger these emails. So let's say like you don't want to trigger emails for a while and you want to turn it off. You can just come here and turn off the status, and you can just turn back it on whenever it's required as per your requirement. So once you click on update settings, the similar kind of PDF which I've shown will be attached to an email, and then you'll be notified by an email according to our like a specific notification, or let's say like specific time at which the email will be triggered. And apart from that, we also have different kinds of share settings where you can actually make your particular dashboard private. That means that only you can be able to access this particular dashboard and nobody from your team can able to see it. And if I disable this feature, everybody in my team can see this dashboard and they can view it, but they can't come and edit any of these settings, what you're seeing right now. And coming down to the link settings, so we enable, like the share link. If let's say you want to generate a share link with some kind of an expiry, you can set up to 7 days, 15 days, 30 days, or you never want to expire that link as well. That is also a feature which is enabled from our side. And let's say you want to secure whatever the link which has been shared with a password. I can also set up custom password as well. And yeah, so for accessing this particular dashboard with the share link, the user have to enter this particular password, and then only he will be able to access the content of that particular share link. So how to get this particular share link? So it's very easy. On when you come out of the dashboard settings, and here is the part where you can get the share link. I can just copy on the share link, and it gets copied to the clipboard. I just open the particular link here. Yeah. So as I've put the password, so it will be asking for a password. Just give the password and click on unlock. It will just verify the password. And once it's verified, as you can see, whatever the kind of widgets which I've added on that particular dashboard, the user can simply access, get to the information, and analyze what's happening exactly for those kind of different kinds of builds and tests which have been done on the platform over a period of time. So going back, not just that, like we have an ability to actually edit the layout as well, where let's say you want this particular graph to be, like, or let's say this particular card to be resized to a full size, you can do that. Or if you want to realign this to something below, I can also bring that down and just drop it there. And these particular charts will be your, like position first, and your other widget could be realigned according to your requirement of your choice, which most of the, like open source frameworks doesn't provide in the market as of today. And apart from that, I can also individually download each like each widget as a PDF as well. And if I want to specifically share only just this widget report with my third-party stakeholders, I can also do that. And I can also clone the widget. I can just click on this and I can just add to the current existing dashboard, and the widget gets cloned. So why this feature is important? Let's say if you want to apply a filter of specific build here, so I'll just click on edit widget, and we provide a plethora of options on all the different kinds of metadata which has been passed using the capability generator as I showed before. And I can filter by different kinds of test names. Let's say, like I want to check this particular widget for page navigation test, and for the build where I have it's a page navigation, and I want to search for it. Let's search for page. Okay, I don't have any build of page navigation. So let's say, like I want to specifically look for, let's say, password reset failure, I can also select that. And if there's any kind of a project name, let's say, which belongs to that particular to build and test name, I can also select that as well. And I can also select different kinds of statuses. For example, let's say if the particular test case which I want to see in that particular widget should only belong to failed cases, I can also select that. Or if there is any kind of error or timed out, and then past issues. And I want to, like ignore all the different kinds of statuses which are not my concern. I can also do that by simply clicking on the checkboxes here. And we can also filter by different kinds of browsers and OS as well, by their different subversions as well. So once you come here, and if I select Chrome, then all the versions of the Chrome will be filtered out. If let's say you are specifically looking for a couple of versions only to be displayed within this widget, I can just come and click on this drop down, and I can select the version which is required for me to be filtered out. Where, let's say if I just select these two versions, then all the tests which have been run on Chrome 108 and 109 versions will be, like filtered out, and the results will be displayed accordingly. You can also do the same with OS as well. Let's say, like I want to check for a Windows, and I want to check only the tests which are run on Windows 11. I can just do that as well. And not just that, let's say, like you want to filter these results on different kinds of, like users who have run on the platform. Let's say I want to see, like how the test cases run by John Doe are actually impacting this. I can also select that particular, like user, and through which, like I can also get the results accordingly. Next, we also do support tags. So as I've showed in the capability generator, you can attach multiple tags. So these tags could be, like utilized. And let's say you want to check for those builds which are having crystal down build, I can just select that. And all the data where this particular tag has been applied on the builds will be filtered out in the data. And similar to build tags, we also do have like test tags. So you can also select what different kinds of test tags you want to select, and filter the data. So wherever this particular tag has been applied for the test, that could be also, like generated as a report. And lastly, we also do support different kinds of display options. So that is where, like if you want to change the visualization of the graph, you can actually select different kinds of supported graph types. Let's say right now I selected a bar chart, and if you want to see a line chart, I can simply click on it and switch the view. And if you want to remove any of these, like statuses from the legends, I can just, like select on this drop down, and I don't want to see, let's say, errors. I can also select that and update the widget. And lastly, we also do support an ability where you can actually change the name of the widget and put like custom widget name of your choice. So if you want to specifically, like identify this particular report which has been filtered out with some name, that is also doable. As you can see here, widget name is applied. So these are the different kinds of like features which we do support. I would like to also like add two other thing items. So one other thing is that there are different kinds of like timeframes which are already preset, which are frequently used here. And if you want to custom set any kind of a date range, let's say from 3rd to 4th, I want to see the tests which run from, let's say, about 4 a.m. And my end time here also would be somewhere about, let's say, 3:30 or let's say 3 a.m. And I can just apply the filter accordingly. And I can get at a granular level information like how many test cases have been running in that particular case. And as you can see here in this pattern, there are test cases which have been started to failing. And once I've notified and I've fixed these issues, again the test cases have started to pass. And lastly, I would like to bring additional feature which I would like to discuss on the platform is about creating pre-built, creating dashboards with pre-built templates. So how this particular feature will help you? As you see, like what you have done is a completely custom built dashboard where I have to add the specific widget of my choice. I can add the specific widget multiple times as per my requirements. And then this is something which is some manually to be done according to your need basis. And let's say if you don't have enough time to build actually all of these dashboards by spending this much of like effort and time, what you can do is that you can simply select a pre-built template, and we have actually generated some kind of like stitching with all these widgets and created specific like reports which could be easily accessible and created over time. And let's say if I want to see all the trends report, I can just select all trends report and I can give a name. Templates. And so I can just click on more info to see like what all widgets have been added in this particular template. And additionally, since as you can see, you have to filter each and every, widget independently. Here, you can actually apply the filters at high level so that all the widgets which have been added to this particular report will be pre-filtered, and you can get much more, like faster results uh, of your choice. So moving on to the next item. I'll be discussing about like overview of user management. So how user management platform would look in Lambda test, and how can you actually add and manage users. And we also do support something called groups, where you can actually set different kinds of parallel threads which have been subscribed, how much resources the user can use, etc. And we also do support something called sub-organizations, where let's say if there is a parent organization account and you want to create multiple sub-organizations within the same, that is also doable. So I'll be on the platform. And to access this particular features of user management, what I have to do is that I have to select on this particular profile icon. And once I select on that, I just need to go and click on manage team. So once I'm in manage team, I can actually see all the different kinds of users which have been added to my account. And now I can invite different kinds of users by just clicking on this button. I can give multiple, like email IDs by providing a comma or a space. And I can also choose what role or access I have to give them. So we do support three different roles. That's admin. So admin can have all the privileges of accessing all the features which are possible on Lambda test. And user can get access to the subscribed products and he can just run, but he cannot manage any kind of, like adding any new user or, like subscribing to billing, etc. And guest user is the one who can just view all the data which is available on the platform, but he cannot execute anything. So talking about groups, so groups are something, like let's say if you have 5 departments and you have now procured about some X number of resources of different kinds of products of Lambda test, and you want to, like provide or limit the kind of resources so that your cost would be much more optimized, and each team will be getting the required bandwidth for their testing process. So I can just click on create and I can give a group name saying that this could be department alpha. And if department alpha is having like about 10 people in their team, which out of them, 6 people are actually, doing basic, mobile based testing, then I can just select about, let's say, like 6 resources for them. And out of, them, about 3 people are actually, working on automating or let's say testing on real device. I can actually select those 3 people, and one out of this whole 10 people, if there is only one guy who is actually looking for native app automation or app, I can just allocate the concurrency according to it. So now my 10 people have the enough capacity according to the requirement, and now I can just select, and I will be selecting all my team members who does belong to this particular group. And now it will show you the summary of before completely creating the group. And I can just click on create group. As you can see, a department alpha group has been created where there are about 3 users, and I can also edit any point of time how this concurrency would look like. So let's say today there are no testing requirements for this particular team for web and mobile browser automation on real device. I can just simply change this here and click on next and save changes, and accordingly my concurrency distribution will change for this particular group. And I can also set this particular group as a default as well, so that any kind of resource which has been run defaultly, they will be executed to this group. We also do support service accounts. So what does a service account mean? So basically, in most of the cases, we have to provide some kind of credentials for executing on CI/CD pipelines. So we have a lot of Jenkins jobs. We have a lot of Test CI or different kinds of CI platforms, which you might be running your jobs on a continuous basis. So that would not need any kind of a user access, which would be abused. And for that specific reason, you can actually create a service account. So you can just click on this button to create a service account. You can give a account name saying Jenkins, and you can select a group. So which particular group or let's say department would actually need the service account. So I want it for department alpha, and I can just create that. So now I will be getting credentials like this. Like this is a username for this particular service account, and I'll be needing an access key so that I can just use these 2 credentials and connect to the hub of Lambda test and execute all my tests. And at any point of time, if I want to change the group, I can just come here and click and change the group of this particular service account. Going and discussing about the sub-organizations. So as you can see, we have discussed there's a parent organization and there is different kinds of organizations within your group which needs different access, and they might be having different kinds of users which doesn't need to meddle or see the data of your organization account. If you want to separate them out completely and isolate them, that's also doable with this particular feature. So for creating a service account, sorry, for creating a sub-organization, you have to just come here on this section and click on this button and give a organization name. So this could be something like Accenture COPG, and I want to also allocate different kinds of resources for this particular organization so that I can have a better control of the licensing. So let's say I want to give about 5 web and mobile browser automation licenses and about closely 2 for web and mobile automation on real device. And I would like to give about 2 licenses for native app testing for this particular organization. So I'll just create that. And as you can see, a new sub-organization has been created. And I can just manage this by clicking on view, and this will give me the users who have been added in this particular sub-organization, different kinds of service accounts. So it's going to be the similar kind of user access control what you have for the parent organization. Similarly, you can also add users and service accounts for this particular sub-organization created. So talking about the future of Lambda test analytics, so we have like planned a roadmap where we have been coming up with a new feature like flakiness test detection and error logs insights, and that is currently planned in this quarter. We have already rolled out beta for flakiness test detection, which is already available for a limited set of users. We'll be planning to roll out by end of this quarter for all the users who will be able to access the test intelligence features of analytics. And the next roadmap of Q3 is to build test case level insights. So currently, whatever insights we are building are at test name and the different kinds of metadata which have been generated from capability generator, but we want to dig more deeper, understand the different framework level insights which could be generated automatically on the platform so that there is no dependency for you to actually look for any kind of other reporting tool rather than Lambda test analytics. And we also want to come up with the advanced feature in our end of last year, sorry, this year. And that is something where you can actually provide the custom variables, how you want to detect different kinds of flaky tests, etc. And also provide advanced charts where you can actually inject different kinds of logs of your uh, visualization, which needs to be done on the platform, and create different kinds of custom charts of your own. So that is broadly about, like Lambda test analytics and dashboard and user management. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Shivishnu. We will start with the Q&A section. I will just put up a question on the screen. This question is asked by Chaya. How it is considered as build is failed?
So build is failed. So basically, there are about two statuses what we have in a build. It is either passed or failed. So if all the tests within a particular build have the status passed, that means that the build is successful and it is passed. But if there is any kind of error, let's say if there is an idle timeout case, or you have marked that particular like test as failed, or sorry, failed, or let's say if there is kind of some kind of command which has been not completed or it's not successful, in that particular case, the build will be marked as failed.
Thank you, Shri. Moving on to the next question. Why test OS completed in the column is showing 0%? Shouldn't be more than 0%. So, Chaya,
Uh,
dummy data. So, it might be due to that.
yes. I wanted to focus more on the inconsistent results, so that's the reason we have 0% on different other like test cases. But in an ideal case scenario, if there is any kind of like tests which fall in the particular status category, you will be seeing those results there.
Also, there is a question around session PPT. So, you will be shared the session PPT and the session video after. You can browse to the session video after this session using the view schedule and watch replay option, and you will be shared the session PPT by Accenture team by today end of the day. One more question, again by Chaya. What is the difference in error and lambda error column?
So the major difference between error and lambda error status is that so if there is any kind of an error which has been occurred during the execution of your test case on the platform, then we classify that as an error status. But if there is any kind of issue from the platform side which is incurred and the test case is actually running fine, absolutely. In that particular scenario, we will mark that as a lambda error.
Thank you, Shri. To use the report analytics, the builds have to be run using Lambda, or is there any feature to pick up external data as well?
So within the current, feature set, what we do offer to the market, the builds have to be run on the Lambda test platform. We don't currently support any kind of external data yet, but we are actually coming up with a roadmap item which could actually also support this feature in the future.
Thank you, Shri. I'm happy to see that you have referenced TestNG report snapshot from seleniumeasy.com, my blog, in your PPT. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your blog, Devendra.
Thank you, Leon.
The last question by Manali is, what are the most used metrics dashboard within Lambda test?
Mm, this is something for QA teams or within internal QA teams? Is this question for?
Uh, I think we can answer for both. So it depends on the
Okay.
use case. Yeah, sure.
Got it. So the most used, like according to like what we have found is that all the time series charts are the most used, widgets what the customers are using currently on the platform, because it is helping them identify, like how their bills are, like passing, failing, or different kinds of status over a period of time, and they can able to, like take data-driven decisions faster. And internally also, we are using the same tool, what I've actually displayed to you guys, and we are checking our, like quality assurance as well, and trying to make data-driven decisions using the similar kind of reports, what we offer to the market.
Thank you, Shri. I think there is a one more question. From where? Okay, I think we have answered this. Okay, thank you, Shri. Thank you for such an amazing session, and thank you, audience, for keeping it engaging. And I will just quickly share my screen and just revise the instructions for the leaderboard. So just to highlight, the tomorrow's session is postponed to 7 June, and if you have already added to your calendar, you can remove it and add it again. So we'll get a notification for 7 June session invite. Also, coming to the next point, how can you earn points for your leaderboard? So currently we have three activities that can add your scores to the leaderboard. First is attending all the Lambda test product certification. The certification points will be only added till 8th of June to the leaderboard scores. So I will suggest you to go to the certification portal and attend the certification as soon as possible. Your credentials will, you might have received your credentials via mail. Your session points, and the thirdly is participating in session quizzes. So that also reminds me that today we also have a session quiz on analytics at 3. So please join and attend the session quiz. For certification points, we have cross-browser testing for 100 points, mobile app testing for 100 points, analytics and smart UI for 100 points, and hyper-execute session that is scheduled for 7th is for 200 points. As of now, you cannot reattempt the certification, and only you can attempt after 45 days. So please look into it carefully. And if in case of there is a tie in the leaderboard, we will be looking into the scores that are scored in certification test. So currently it's either pass or fail. So, but while calculating the leaderboard, we will look into the specific marks of the certification. The attendance points, the session, the minutes of session you have attended in this session, you will receive a maximum points, and the maximum points scored in the session is 50 points. The quiz points, in the session quizzes, your exam will be considered, and however you score will be added to your leaderboard. And in case of a tie, the submission time, whoever has taken less time would be awarded the higher rank. The maximum points that one can score in the leaderboard is 1300 points. And for any support, feel free to reach us out at testathon@lambdatest.com. If you are facing any questions, or if you have any questions or queries regarding Lambdatest platform, or if you are not able to browse, or would you like to, if you have any questions around a particular product, do write us at testathon@lambdatest.com. Also, if you have any doubts regarding leaderboard certification or any quizzes, feel free to reach us out. Thank you. See you at 3. Thank you everyone for joining.